This post is for people who don't know if they're going to be able to pay their rent, their mortgage, their car note. They don't know if they're going to be able to feed their children. They don't know if their business will get dissolved because they can't pay the taxes. They have no clue if they're going to beat cancer. They have no clue if they're going to be healthy again. These type of people oftentimes become real desperate. Now, desperation happens to every single human being in many different ways. But desperation has a spiritual impact. And I am going to talk to you about what it is not, some like 3 ways that it impacts you, a couple solutions. So let's get into it. Hi, my name's Kyle. Welcome back to the YouTube page where your spiritual growth is paramount. Okay? Love is the only way. And if you didn't know, now you know. Okay? So, desperate. What does the word desperate mean? Remember, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So what does the word desperate mean? It means hopeless. Okay? The word desperate, it means hopeless. When everything is dark around you, when you don't know what to do, you're hopeless. Okay? And when you are hopeless, by the process of being hopeless, you are also desperate. Now, what is hopeless? Because this post is about desperation, about you being desperate. But hope or hopelessness needs to be studied. The word hopeless, it means without hope. That's pretty simple. But what does hope mean? Hope means God or Christ as a basis of hope. Okay? It means confidence in the future. God or Christ as a basis of hope. Okay? Remember that definition. Okay. So when you take that, we can logically say when you are hopeless, you think God is not coming back for you. You down deep think that God is against you. God is punishing you. Hopeless. Okay? God has it out for you somehow. Hopeless. Okay? But what is hope spiritually? Okay? Hope is actually part of grace. Okay? Fruit of the Spirit. Hope is actually part of grace. What is grace? The word grace means God's unmerited love and favor. God's unmerited love and favor. And grace is not something you just fall into. It's something that it is delivered. Okay? Grace is delivered to you. How is grace delivered, Kyle? Well, that's a great question. Thank you for that question there. How is grace delivered? Grace is delivered by virtue. Okay? You know, they say patience is a virtue. Well, what the heck is virtue? You see, you just got to keep on being curious and, reading stuff. So what is virtue? Virtue are one of the 9 choirs of heaven. There's God and the devil. There are demons and angels, but part of hell includes the 7 deadly sins. This is an indication that there is actually some type of order or structure in hell. Okay, so the 7 deadly sins, but why haven't we heard anything about structures of heaven? Well, I'm going to tell you. So in heaven, or in the Bible, God said, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Heavens with an S, plural, more than one, or it's layered, okay? Heavens or the earth. So what are the heavens? Well, there are 9 choirs of heaven. It's called the 9 choirs of heaven. And in each choir, there are three entities called angelic beings. So there are 3 different angelic beings in each of the 3 choirs of heaven. Okay. So, and each one of the choirs of heaven has a position and a title. Okay. So this, one of the choirs is called virtue. One of the choirs is called seraphims, thrones, principalities, archangels. There's some called angels. Okay. Angels are the lowest type of choirs of heaven. It's what humans talk to. Humans can engage with. Okay. So the 9 choirs of heaven, grace, God's unmerited love and favor. What is grace? Grace is delivered by virtue. Okay. Grace is delivered by virtue. That's the task for virtue, to deliver grace. Now, what is grace? Okay. God's unmerited love and favor. But what is it actually spiritually? Okay. Grace is humility. It's modesty. It is humbleness. It's patience. It's joy. Okay. And some more stuff. This is what grace is. Okay. And when you understand that, your life will never be the same again. You don't need to work for grace. Well, excuse me. You don't fall into grace as if you fall into a swimming pool. You have to get aligned properly in order to receive grace through virtue. Okay. The 9 choirs of heaven. So when you are desperate, when you are hopeless, you do desperate things. Okay. You do desperate things because you are hopeless. And you are only hopeless because in spirit, you don't think God will come through for you. You don't think God has your back. You don't think that you're going to be able to pay the rent, even though you're praying, God, please help me pay the rent. God, please help me with my kids. God, please help me with my husband, my wife. God, please help me. Help me. God, please. This is something that is key. Okay. People will ask God for favor. Remember, grace means God's unmerited love and favor because of a real life situation, like a real things, something real's happening in their life. But what ends up happening is you pray about it, but then you take matters into your own hands. For example, if you can't pay your rent, maybe you'll go out and prostitute. Yeah, the devil will definitely pay your rent. The devil has no issue paying rent, buying you clothes, paying you your salary in your 9-to-5 job. Okay, the devil has no issue doing that, paying for your house, no issue doing any of this stuff. So, the thing about desperation is when you are desperate, you do strange things. But professionally speaking, you become ambitious. When you don't think God is going to come through, this is where the serial entrepreneur comes. You don't want to buckle down and sit with one thing for about 5 years. You don't want to buckle down, and hire a team member or, hire or, get an investor. You want to do it all on your own. Remember, ambition is eager desire for honor, and it's ruled and ran by the demon called Leviathan, pride. So ambition is actually a move of desperation. You don't need ambition to make money. You don't need ambition to serve people. Now, our physical bodies experience ambition and exhaustion the same way. Okay. So when you are ambitious, deep down, you are desperate. You're hopeless. You grind for everything, but you call it like a hustle, and you kind of glamorize it. You make it holy in some type of way. Oh, I want a man that's ambitious. Hey, I'm an ambitious man. What's up? So it's like, ambition is actually not a good thing. It's really not a good thing. But hopeless, when you are hopeless, you do not think God is coming back for you. So you're taking matters into your own hands. This is why desperation comes. When it's dark, when you don't know your way forward, when you absolutely need evidence and God is asking you to just have faith, okay? When your brain is screaming to the mountaintops, I need a structured path forward instead of just have faith, you get desperate, okay? You get ambitious. You do crazy things. You get hopeless, okay? Grace can never be here if you are hopeless. If you are ambitious, grace can never be here. I'm telling you the truth here. And yeah, that's something that I've learned, but you can do it. There's a lot more that resonates with you than I think that you understand. You need to plan better. You need to use your calendar. You need to get structured, okay? If you don't have a plan, then you don't have goals. If you don't have goals, you don't have purpose. All your goals feed into your purpose. All of your goals are fed by tasks, okay? And all your tasks are to be executed. And that's how it works, okay? That's how it works. So, how are 3 ways desperation impacts you, okay? Number 1, desperation dismisses God as a provider, okay? It dismisses God as a provider. When you are desperate, you stop believing God will show up for you. Instead of waiting for his provision, being patient, you try to force things with your own strength. This is what is called ambition, okay? Ambition fueled by envy. This is greed and envy, and then envy slips in. Desperation convinces you that God is not enough, and once you believe that, you step outside of his protection. You step outside of grace, okay? You step outside of joy and open the door to demonic influence, okay? Next, the next thing is desperation trains you to overreach, okay? Hopelessness pushes you into extremes. When you are hungry and you don't have food, you're thinking about robbing somebody, okay? Instead of staying steady in your plan and purpose, you start reaching too far and too fast. Overreaching creates distractions, broken relationships, and wasted energy. Demons thrive in this space because your emotions are leading instead of God's Spirit. Hope. You end up chasing quick fixes instead of purpose. The third way, hopelessness and desperation attack you is desperation removes you from joy. Joy is God's protection. It allows you to move in peace, knowing that your Father is watching over you, but desperation is what steals that joy. Okay? When you are desperate, you cannot see small wins. You cannot rest. You cannot hear God clearly. Without joy, you are unprotected. You lack that lack of joy leaves you vulnerable to despair, temptation, and other spiritual attacks. Okay? The solution for rebuilding hope and positioning yourself, okay, is this. I'm going to give you two things. One, the way out is to get back into position, okay? Desperation shows up when you turn away from God, but hope returns when you face him again. The Bible says, weeping may come but for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Weeping may come but for a night, but joy comes in the morning. That's not just poetry, okay? It's spiritual principle. When you look at surprises, you are looking at God's, and you are looking at joy. When you look at joy, you get hope, because joy is God's protection. One simple way to protect yourself or reposition yourself is by stacking many wins in your daily life. Put simple tasks on your calendar, like brushing your teeth, cooking dinner, washing the car. Check them off and leave them checked. Each check mark retains your brain to see progress as a can-do perspective. Over time, these small wins reposition your mind to focus on what God is doing instead of what his fear is doing. Joy is never far away. It's waiting every moment, every morning when you rise, okay? But when you choose to position your vision towards it, you will focus on joy. You align with God's protection, and hope begins to flow. Okay? Now, I sincerely hope this blessed you. If you didn't know, now you know.